What if the next 2 weeks on Days of Our Lives are not just about shocking twists, but about several dangerous secrets starting to collapse at the same time? Because that is exactly what the spoilers for March 30th through April 10th seem to suggest. Across Salem, people are making risky moves, hiding major truths, and convincing themselves they can still stay in control. But the deeper these lies go, the more explosive the consequences may become. And that is what makes this stretch so intriguing. This is not just about one big reveal. It is about multiple storylines reaching the point where the truth may no longer stay buried. So let's break it all down. One of the most quietly dangerous stories in the week of March 30th to April 3rd may be the plagiarism trap tied to Bonnie's book. At first glance, this may look like a financial opportunity for the people behind it. Kate and Xander are moving ahead with the final phase of the setup, while Philip already seems ready to view the possible lawsuit payout as a lifeline. In his mind, that money could ease immediate pressure and help cover the next loan payment. But that practical thinking may be exactly what makes this situation so risky. Because once a scheme starts solving real problems, the people involved often stop thinking about how quickly it could turn against them. And in this case, Johnny may be the one standing in the most vulnerable position. He approved Bonnie's book, so if this trap blows up in public, he may not just face embarrassment. He could be left dealing with serious legal exposure and damage to his judgment as a decision-maker. Johnny is not simply asking for guidance. He is turning to EJ because he may already sense that this is no longer a manageable misunderstanding. It may be turning into a situation that requires real legal rescue. And whenever EJ enters a crisis, the story usually becomes more layered. He may help Johnny out, but EJ never steps into a problem without shifting control, influence, and leverage around everyone involved. So this may end up being about more than plagiarism. It may become a story about manipulation, miscalculation, and the moment Johnny realizes he approved something that could blow back on him much harder than he ever imagined. If there is one storyline that feels especially unstable right now, it is everything surrounding Sophia. Once Rachel points the finger at Sophia over the pill switch, the situation immediately becomes more serious. Brady passing that information on to Holly and Tate means the accusation will no longer stay contained inside one conversation or one suspicion. The truth starts moving outward, and that changes the emotional pressure completely. Because now this is not just about drama or manipulation in the abstract. It becomes about Rachel being used. It becomes about trust being violated. And it becomes much harder for anyone to dismiss Sophia's actions as confusion or emotional chaos. On paper, being released should sound like progress. It should suggest that Sophia is stabilizing. But the spoilers point in a very different direction. Amy wants Sophia to come home, reconnect with family, and stay out of trouble. Sophia, however, appears to have no interest in slowing down. Instead of lying low, she seems ready to step right back into public conflict and head straight to the pub. It suggests Sophia is not focused on healing or accountability. She may be focused on control, on staying active, staying involved, and possibly staying ahead of the fallout before more people turn against her. And once Kristen sees Sophia and blasts her for dragging Rachel into this mess, that confrontation may confirm that Sophia is losing whatever room she had left to hide behind excuses. So her release may not calm this storyline down at all. It may actually be the moment where things become even more unpredictable. What makes this spoiler period feel so tense is that Sophia's most troubling action may still be ahead. Once the pill switch truth comes closer to full exposure, Sophia may start to feel cornered. And on a soap, that is often the moment when a character stops making calculated choices and starts making dangerous ones. The fear is no longer just about what she did. It is about what she might convince herself to do next. Sophia clearly does not want Johnny and Chanel raising her biological son, and that emotional refusal may become even more extreme if she feels her options disappearing. If Bayview is back on the table, if more people believe Rachel, and if public blame starts closing in, Sophia may begin to see drastic action as her only move left. Because the moment Sophia starts thinking she has to fix the situation herself, the line between emotional desperation and outright catastrophe gets very thin. If she considers taking Trey and leaving town, this story instantly shifts into something much more frightening. For Johnny and Chanel, the joy of finally building a family could turn into panic almost overnight. What looked like a secure turning point in their adoption journey may actually be the beginning of their most traumatic test yet. And that is why this storyline feels so gripping right now. It is not just messy. It feels volatile. It feels like one reckless decision could tear apart several lives at once. Among all the louder twists happening in Salem, Stephanie's final face-off with Owen could become one of the most emotionally precise scenes of the week. The setting alone tells us a lot. With Jada arranging the meeting in the Salem PD interrogation room, this is clearly not meant to feel soft, nostalgic, or forgiving. The environment is cold, official, and stripped of comfort, which may be exactly the point. Stephanie is not going there to reopen old feelings. She is going there to confront the source of a great deal of pain on her own terms. After everything Owen put her through, Stephanie may need more than distance. She may need a final moment of clarity. A chance to look directly at the man who caused so much damage and make it unmistakably clear that he did not succeed in destroying her. He may have hurt her, shaken her, and left scars behind, but he did not define the rest of her life. It does not need to be explosive to be powerful. In fact, the scene may work better if Stephanie stays steady, focused, and emotionally grounded. Because sometimes the strongest comeback is not rage. Sometimes it is showing the other person that they no longer have power over your identity, your future, or your peace. So while this may not be the most plot-heavy story of the week, it could still be one of the most meaningful. Not because it changes Salem overnight, but because it may show Stephanie finally reclaiming emotional control in a way that feels earned. Another strong undercurrent in these spoilers is the growing emotional pressure inside multiple Salem families. Julie urging JJ to seek therapy suggests that what he is going through is deeper than a temporary rough patch. Yes, he has already quit the police department, but Julie seems to understand that leaving the job may not fix the real problem. Her concern points to something more internal, something unresolved that may still be weighing heavily on him beneath the surface. JJ's struggle may not be the loudest storyline right now, but it feels like the kind of arc that could become more significant if the show leans into his emotional exhaustion, his sense of disorientation, and the possibility that he has been carrying more than the people around him fully realize. Julie pushing him toward therapy may be her way of saying that surviving is not the same as healing. At the same time, Chanel may be sensing a different kind of emotional fracture in her own family circle. Her decision to question Paulina and press her for the truth feels important because it suggests Chanel can feel that something is off, even if she does not yet know exactly what. That kind of scene often matters on a soap because the tension comes from instinct before evidence. Chanel may be picking up on guilt, hesitation, or emotional distance, and once that starts happening, it becomes much harder for secrets to stay buried. In both cases, the characters seem to be circling pain that has not been fully named yet. Julie sees that JJ is struggling more deeply than he admits. Chanel senses that Paulina may be hiding something serious. And when multiple people start feeling that kind of emotional imbalance before the facts are even revealed, it usually means the fallout is much closer than anyone wants to admit. The Lexi storyline may be one of the most explosive developments in this entire two-week stretch, because it is not just built on shock. It is built on secrecy, family betrayal, and delayed truth. When EJ reunites Theo with his revived mother in the Demera tunnels, the first reaction is likely to be pure disbelief. Theo may not even know how to process what he is seeing. For him, this is not a twist or a surprise in the ordinary soap sense. This is the kind of moment that would make anyone question reality. Is Lexi truly alive? Is this another Demera manipulation? Is EJ telling the truth, or is he controlling the situation for reasons Theo still cannot see? That confusion may turn to anger almost immediately. And honestly, that reaction would make perfect sense. From Theo's point of view, this is not just miraculous news. It is a deeply personal truth that was hidden from the very people who had the most right to know. So if he grabs EJ and demands answers, that would not just be about shock. It would be about outrage that something this massive was kept under wraps while the family was left in the dark. Even if EJ insists that Dr. Rolfe helped make the impossible happen, that explanation may not calm the emotional damage. Because the real issue is no longer just Lexi being alive. The real issue is who knew, who stayed silent, and who decided they had the right to control that information. And that is where the fallout could spread fast. It is very hard to imagine Theo carrying this secret alone for long. Once Abe learns that Lexi is alive, his first response may not be relief alone. It may also be anger, confusion, and a demand to know why he was shut out of something so life-changing. And if he then learns Paulina has known more than she admitted, the consequences may hit their marriage directly. It is not simply about a shocking return. It is about the emotional wreckage created by the secrecy surrounding that return. The miracle may be real, but the way it was handled could leave lasting damage across the entire family. Even when Lexi finally awakens, that moment may not bring immediate peace to the people around her. In many ways, it could make the emotional situation even more complicated. Because waking up is only the first step. If Lexi opens her eyes confused, weak, and desperate for answers, then the miracle of her return may be instantly overshadowed by everything that still does not make sense. She may not understand where she is, how much time has passed, or why so many of the people who love her were kept at a distance while her fate was being controlled in secret. Because once Lexi starts asking questions, everyone around her may be forced to confront not just what happened to her, but how her return was managed behind closed doors. The people who thought they were protecting her may suddenly have to defend choices that now look secretive, manipulative, and deeply unfair to the rest of the family. The shock of Lexi being alive is dramatic on its own, but the aftermath may be where the pain truly deepens. Relief may quickly collide with guilt, anger, and confusion. Family members may be grateful she is back, while also struggling to process how much was hidden from them and why they were denied the chance to be there sooner. It feels like a resurrection wrapped in secrecy, emotional control, and consequences that are only beginning to surface. And on days of our lives, those kinds of miracles almost never arrive without opening the door to a whole new storm. The romantic tension surrounding Sean, Belle, and Jada may not explode all at once, but it could shift in a very important way during the week of April 6 to 10. Sean rejecting Belle's offer to move in with him is already significant on its own. But the part that may sting even more is what comes next, his decision to move in with Jada instead. Even if Sean tries to frame it as practical or temporary, that choice carries emotional weight whether he intends it to or not. Because actions like this send signals. To Belle, it may feel like more than a simple housing decision. It may feel like proof that Sean is putting emotional distance between them while becoming increasingly comfortable with someone else. That is what makes this setup so delicate. The rejection is not happening in isolation. It is happening alongside a move that naturally places Sean and Jada in closer daily contact. And on a soap, proximity changes everything. Living together creates room for private conversations, emotional honesty, shared routines, and the kind of quiet connection that can grow stronger before either person openly acknowledges it. What starts as convenience can quickly turn into emotional dependence, especially when both characters are already vulnerable and navigating unresolved feelings. This may be the stage where Sean and Jada stop feeling like a vague possibility and begin moving into real romantic territory. Not because one huge moment forces it, but because closeness has a way of doing the emotional work gradually. And for Belle, that may be the hardest part to watch, not one dramatic betrayal, but the slow realization that Sean may be drifting towards someone else right in front of her. So this living arrangement may end up changing far more than sleeping arrangements. It may start redrawing the emotional lines of this triangle in a way that becomes impossible to ignore. Overall, these next 2 weeks on Days of Our Lives feel less like a collection of separate spoilers and more like a chain reaction waiting to happen. Johnny may be heading into legal disaster. Sophia may be on the verge of making her most desperate move yet. Theo's discovery about Lexi could shake multiple relationships at once. And Sean's decision to live with Jada may quietly change the romantic balance moving forward. What ties all of these stories together is simple. Too many people think they can manage the truth. But Salem's secrets never stay buried forever. And the deeper those secrets go, the more painful the fallout becomes when everything finally comes crashing into the light. So the real question is not whether drama is coming. It is which characters will still have control of their lives once these next 2 weeks are over.